Hey there. Tonight we're not just opening a history book. Imagine you accidentally stepped right into it. No warning. No guide. You've time traveled. Suddenly, you're in medieval England. Not the shiny knights and castles version. This is the real one. Cold, muddy, full of people staring at you because you clearly don't belong. A world of chamber pots, moldy bread, and complicated rules. Bow wrong? You could get into serious trouble. You'd fumble with the language, lose your stuff, and pretend to know saints you've never heard of. All just to survive another day. If quiet, immersive history helps you relax, feel free to like the video and subscribe, but only if it brings you some peace. Let me know in the comments where you're watching from and what time it is for you. It's always comforting to see how far these stories reach. Okay, dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for some background noise, and settle in. Let's begin. With you waking up in the wrong century, you wake up to something strange silence. Not just the quiet you might hear late at night in your room, but a deep, heavy silence that presses in on you. There's no hum of electricity, no cars in the distance, no buzzing from streetlights or appliances. It's the kind of silence that only exists in places far away from people, machines, and modern life. At first, it doesn't even feel real. You lie still, confused. The ground beneath you is cold and damp, and your hands are freezing. You realize you're lying in dirt. Not on a bed or couch, just dirt, with the smell of earth all around you. Your heart starts to pound, a dull thump in your chest that seems loud in the stillness. The air feels thick and wet, like fog is clinging to your skin. You can't see anything at first. It's not just dark, it's complete darkness. Not like when you turn off the lights at home and your eyes adjust. This is blackness that swallows everything. Slowly, as your eyes get used to it, shapes start to appear. You can just make out tall trees, their branches twisted and reaching like fingers. The ground is covered in moss and fallen leaves. In the far distance, there's a faint flicker, maybe firelight, glowing weakly through the crooked branches. Your breath comes fast, your chest tight with fear and confusion. What happened? Where are you? You fumble for your phone, your hands shaking. You find it in your pocket and turn it on, hoping for answers, for something familiar. The screen lights up and hurts your eyes, but there's no signal, no bars, no Wi-Fi, just a battery warning, 3% remaining. That little glowing screen feels like your last connection to the world you knew, and it's fading fast. You sit there in the dirt, heart racing, trying to calm yourself. You don't know how you got here. You don't know what's around you. All you know is that something is very wrong. Then you smell something. It hits you slowly, creeping into your nose as you sit there in the cold. It's earthy and smoky, thick with a scent you can't quite name. It doesn't smell bad, not like garbage or chemicals, but it's nothing like what you're used to. It's natural, raw. You can pick out the sharp tang of wood smoke, the damp scent of wet leaves and moss, maybe even the heavy, sour smell of manure. There's something else too, something musky and wild that you can't place. It's the smell of a world untouched by cities, by concrete, by air fresheners and bleach. A world that hasn't been cleaned up or covered in asphalt. It's real, and it makes your stomach turn a little with nervous energy. Your breath catches as a strange thought forms in your mind. You're not home anymore. You're not anywhere close. This isn't some forest on the edge of a highway or a camping trip gone wrong. This place feels older, deeper. Like the earth itself is heavier here. You tell yourself it's a dream. Or maybe you hit your head. Maybe this is some kind of prank. But something inside you knows the truth, even if your mind refuses to say it out loud. Congratulations, you're not in Kansas anymore. You're in the English countryside, but not the one with cozy tea shops and winding roads. No paved streets, no power lines, no cars or fences or modern houses. The trees are wild and overgrown. The land stretches out untouched, raw and alive. You don't see any buildings with bricks or stone chimneys. No signs of electricity or even proper roads. And that's when it hits you, really hits you. You're not just lost in space, you're lost in time. Medieval England. Judging by the look and smell of the place, maybe the 1300s. You feel your throat tighten. How? Why? This isn't funny anymore. The idea of a time machine, something you might have joked about or seen in movies, suddenly feels too close to real. You didn't ask for this. You don't remember choosing to be here, but here you are. And now, more than anything, you need a plan. Rule 1, don't panic. Panic makes you loud. Panic makes you careless. And right now, you can't afford that. You need to think. You need to stay calm, even though your hands are shaking. Rule 2, don't let anyone see you arrive. People in this time might not be afraid of strangers the way we are today, but they will notice you. And noticing is dangerous. If your clothes look strange, if your words sound odd, if your behavior doesn't fit what they know, you'll stand out. You might not be accused of witchcraft, though, who knows? But you will be questioned. And questioned people in the Middle Ages didn't always have a good time. You could be robbed, locked up, used for work, or worse, dragged into a life you can't escape. So you do the only thing you can. You move quietly. You pull your body up off the damp earth, brush off the leaves and dirt as best as you can, and try to listen, to really listen. No talking, no footsteps. Just the faint crackle of firelight far off in the distance, and the whisper of wind through the trees. Somewhere out there, people are living lives that don't include electricity, or the internet, or even running water. You have to stay hidden for now. You have to blend in. Somehow, some way, you have to survive. The forest around you is thick but not wild. These woods were used for firewood, hunting by nobles, gathering food by peasants, if allowed. But nearly every inch was owned. Every twig had a price. Get caught taking wood without belonging to the local lord? That could be theft, and theft could cost you a hand. You walk towards the glow of a town hidden among the trees. The lights are few, torches or hearth fires peeking through crude wooden shutters. No street lamps, no glass windows, just wooden planks or stretched animal hides. Light flickers, then vanishes. As you get closer, you find the road, not paved, not even cobbled, just packed mud, scarred by cartwheels and full of puddles. These roads were functional, not comfortable, often flooded and slippery. You try to keep your footing, but your sleek modern shoes are instantly covered in grime. You take them off and hide them. Your socks go too. Clothes matter. You're wearing materials they've never seen. Synthetic fibers, zippers, machine. Stitching. If you walk into town in jeans and a hoodie, you're an alien. Best case, they think you're from a far-off land. Worst case, an escaped lunatic. So you do the only sensible thing. Bury your modern clothes deep in the woods. Tuck your phone away. Strip down to maybe a thermal undershirt that almost looks like a rough linen tunic. Pull your hair back messily. Rub some dirt on your face. Practice looking tired and hungry. Up ahead, you see it, a gate. A town gate, tall and old-looking, made of heavy wood and thick iron. It stands slightly open, just enough for a person to pass through. You approach slowly, your heart beating faster. You're not sure what you'll find inside, but you know you need shelter, food, maybe answers. Towns in this time often had gates like this, not to lock people in, but to keep unwanted things out. Wild animals, thieves, troublemakers. At night, gates were usually closed and curfews were taken seriously. When the sun went down, the bells rang to let everyone know it was time to go inside. After that, unless you had a very good reason, you couldn't enter without paying a fine or answering a lot of questions. You're lucky. It's just before dawn, and the sky is slowly changing color. turning soft and pink as the first light touches the cold, frosty ground. You wait nearby, pretending to blend in. A few people are already gathering near the gate, a small group of early risers. Traders carrying goods, peasants with carts and baskets, maybe even a pilgrim or two in worn-out robes. They look tired, cold, and quiet. Nobody talks much. When the gate creaks open a little wider, you move with them, walking slowly, head down, trying not to draw attention. No one looks at you twice. You're just another tired face in the crowd. Inside, the town feels cramped and alive in a strange way. The main street is narrow and messy, covered in mud from days of foot traffic, rain, and animals. You can barely walk without slipping. On either side of the street, tall houses lean in toward each other, as if they're whispering secrets. They're built with thick wooden beams and walls filled with a mix of mud and straw called wattle and daub. Some look like they might fall over if the wind blew too hard. The roofs are thatched, made from dried grass or reeds, and in the dim morning light, you can see smoke curling from small chimneys as fires are lit inside. The smell hits you almost right away. It's strong and strange wood smoke mixed with animal waste, wet earth, and something sour. People live close to their animals here. Pigs, goats, and chickens roam freely, and you nearly step on a chicken that darts across your path, flapping its wings in panic. You hear the sound of hooves, a cart creaking, someone shouting in a dialect that's familiar, but old-fashioned and rough. You keep walking, trying not to react, trying to look like you belong. You remember something you once read about how people slept in the past. They didn't sleep the way you do now, one solid 8-hour block. That idea is actually modern. Here, most people have what was called a first sleep, then wake up in the middle of the night for a couple of hours. During that time, they might tend to the fire, pray, talk to others, or even go outside briefly. Then they'd return to bed for a second sleep until morning. Maybe that's why the town feels so half awake now. Some people are just getting up, others might already have been awake for hours. You walk on, trying to take everything in while staying unnoticed. You know this place isn't safe, but it's your best chance right now. You have no money, no real knowledge of how to survive in this time, and only the faint glow of your almost dead phone reminding you that you came from somewhere else. But for now, you're inside the town, and your first day in the 1300s has just begun. You walk slowly down the muddy street, your boots squishing in the thick, wet earth. The town is waking up now, smoke rising from chimneys, shutters creaking open, people beginning their daily chores. As you pass, you come to a blacksmith's forge. The building is dark with soot, the walls stained from years of fire and smoke. Inside, you hear the sharp clang of metal on metal, the steady beat of the hammer against hot iron. The air is thick with the scent of burning coal, hot metal, and sweat. A man, broad and strong, works shirtless despite the cold, his skin shining. With effort, sparks fly as he shapes something you can't see. You keep walking. Next is a stable. The smell of horses, hay, and manure is strong. A sleepy boy leads a mule out to be brushed. The animal snorts and stomps, steam rising from its body in the cold morning air. A few doors down, you pass what looks like a cook shop. There's a pot bubbling over a small fire. The scent reaches you, a mix of onions, grease, and something old and sour. Maybe cabbage, maybe worse. A rough wooden table holds yesterday's bread, hard and misshapen, with cracks like dry skin. You realize how hungry you are, but you keep moving. No one says hello. No one even nods. And that's a relief for now. But deep down, you know, it won't last. Sooner or later, someone will ask, "Who are you?" It won't be friendly curiosity. In this world, people don't wander without purpose. Everyone belongs somewhere, to someone. You're either part of a household, a guild, a trade, or a church parish. You live under a lord's rule, or with family, or in service to someone. Strangers are rare, and they stand out. A traveler with no name, no known past, no one to vouch for them. That's strange. And strange is dangerous. If you don't belong, you're not protected. You could be robbed, arrested, turned away, accused of something, anything, and no one would care. You'd have no voice, no rights. So you start to think fast. You need a story. Something simple, something people will believe. You settle on the safest choice. You're a pilgrim. Pilgrims were common in these times. They traveled from all over, walking for days or even months to visit holy places. People were used to seeing them. Poor clothes, tired faces, few possessions. A person walking to Canterbury to visit the shrine of St. Thomas Becket, or even farther too, Santiago de Compostela in Spain. That would make sense to almost anyone. They wouldn't question it too deeply. You even invent a village you're supposedly from. Somewhere far, far away. A place you hope no one here has ever been or has family in. The more distant it sounds, the less likely they'll ask for details. You repeat the name in your mind, shaping your story around it. You picture fields, a small church, maybe a sick mother you left behind. Just enough truth to make it real. You also remember how to act. If someone looks at you, you lower your eyes and bow slightly. You don't offer your hand. That wasn't the custom yet. Shaking hands was rare in most situations. You try not to speak unless you have to. When you do, you mumble. Your accent is strange, your grammar off. You're from far away, after all. People might think you're from a different part of the country, or even a different country. You hope they won't care, and when you need to, you smile, just a little. A faint, tired smile. Enough to show you're not a threat. Just another traveler, just another soul on the road, hoping for warmth, food, and a place to rest. You keep walking, quiet, careful, watching everything. Every detail matters now. Because in this world, one wrong word could change everything. As you keep walking through the muddy street, still trying to look like you belong, someone holds out a piece of bread to you. It's a simple gesture, no words, just a hand offering food. You take it carefully, unsure at first, but grateful. The bread is rough and thick, nothing like the soft, fluffy bread you know. It's dry and dense, made mostly of rye, maybe mixed with barley or bean flour, whatever was cheap and available. The crust is hard, the inside heavy, but it's warm. And right now, that warmth feels like kindness. You nod in thanks, not trusting your voice, and take a bite. You chew slowly, your jaw working hard. It tastes plain, almost sour, but you force yourself to eat it. You hope that chewing, swallowing, and looking calm makes you seem more normal, more like someone who didn't fall out of the sky in the middle of the night. And just like that, without warning, you've survived your first hour in the 1300s, but the day hasn't even really started. You've barely been awake an hour, and already you're playing a part. Already you're pretending to be someone else. That's how this world works. There are no passports, no driver's licenses, no photo IDs. People don't carry proof of who they are. Instead, they carry stories. Your story is everything. It's your only protection. Without it, you're just a stranger, and strangers without stories are dangerous. Or worse, suspicious. So you need to build your story fast. And stick to it. You go with what you've already decided. The safest story, the easiest to believe. You're a pilgrim. Pilgrims are everywhere in this time. They come from all over the country, and sometimes even from other countries, walking for days, even weeks, to visit holy places. You're just one of many. Your clothes don't match the town's fashion. You've been traveling. You look lost, tired, confused. That's normal for a pilgrim. No one expects a pilgrim to look neat. And well-fed. The first person you tell is a stable boy, maybe 12 or 13 years old. He's feeding a tired-looking mule and glances at you with curiosity. Not suspicion, just interest. He wipes his hands on his tunic and says, "Where you headed?" His voice is casual, but your heart jumps. You pause for a second, just long. Enough to worry that you've waited too long. Then you say the only place you can think of. "Canterbury," you answer, trying to sound tired but calm. The boy nods seriously, like this makes sense to him. "Long road," he says, then turns back to brushing the mule. That's it. No further questions. Just a nod, a simple exchange, and you're safe. At least for now. So that's it. That's your truth now. You're a pilgrim on your way to Canterbury, to the shrine of St. Thomas Becket, the famous place where a saint was murdered in a cathedral. People make the journey hoping for healing, forgiveness, peace, or a second chance. Some want miracles. Others just want a change. There's no one reason, which makes your story even easier to believe. Pilgrims can be rich or poor, sick or healthy, young or old. Some are deeply religious. Others just want a safe path across the country. Some are desperate. Some are running from something. You could be any one of them. And that's what makes your story strong. You blend in. You don't have to explain too much. You don't have to prove anything. You just have to walk, look humble, stay quiet, and survive. The day stretches ahead of you, full of unknowns. But for now, you have a name and a reason. You are a pilgrim. And that's good enough. The lie isn't just for strangers. It's for you too. You repeat it to yourself, smoothing the edges. You come from a distant village, traveling alone because your cousin got sick, going to Canterbury because your brother had a dream, doing penance for a sin you won't name. You've practiced just enough church Latin to mumble prayers that sound okay. Your story buys you shelter. A monk at a small priory hears your tale and waves you inside. He doesn't ask many questions. Pilgrims were expected to be odd. You say you've been walking for weeks. He believes you. Everyone looks rough here. He shows you to a room, really just a corner of a drafty hall with 3 other pilgrims. One snores like a bear. Another talks in his sleep. You pull a borrowed wool cloak tight and try not to think about bedbugs. Monasteries and hospices were some of the few places travelers could sleep without paying. The church was supposed to offer charity to pilgrims. Sometimes they ignored it, but most offered at least stale bread, some thin stew, pottage, and floor space near a fire. You eat what you're given, because you have no other choice. The food is called barley pottage, thick, grayish stew made from boiled grains and maybe a few vegetables. It's hot and salty, but not much else. There's no flavor beyond that. You chew slowly, trying not to think about taste or spices. You're used to food with seasoning, garlic, herbs, maybe even a little chili. But here, spices exist, yes, but not for someone like you, not for the poor. A pinch of pepper could cost more than the cloak on your back. Cinnamon, cloves, only. The rich could dream of that. This meal is plain and rough, but it fills your stomach, and for now, that's enough. The spoon you use isn't even yours. It's shared, passed from person to person, wiped off quickly with a rag that looks like it hasn't been washed in days. You don't complain. You can't. Complaining would only draw attention. Your bowl is made of wood, rough and worn down by years of use. It has splinters around the rim, and you're careful not to let them catch your lip. It's old, probably. Older than you, but it holds food, and that makes it valuable. You sit among other pilgrims, huddled around a small fire or gathered inside a cramped shelter. They talk softly, voices low and tired. One man limps badly from a wound on his foot, the bandage wrapped around it dirty and stiff. Another coughs constantly, pulling his cloak tighter around him every time he shivers. Their faces are drawn and weathered, their eyes dull with pain, but still they talk. Still they share. A woman speaks of her son. He's sick. and she's walking all the way to Canterbury in the hope that a miracle will heal him. Another man, eyes red and restless, says he's seeking forgiveness for cheating on his wife. A third pilgrim, quieter than the rest, admits he's running from debts. Back home, they were chasing him. Here, he's just another traveler. No one judges, no one pries. They all understand, even without asking. Pilgrimage is partly about religion, yes, but it's also about something deeper: escape. A way to vanish from your old life and begin again. None of them ask why you're here, and you're grateful. Maybe they guess. Maybe they don't care. Everyone here carries a burden, something heavy, something they'd rather not talk about. You nod when they speak, listening closely, but mostly staying quiet. Silence is safer. When the talking slows and people begin to rest, you try to sleep. You curl up in your cloak, the ground cold beneath you. But sleep doesn't come. Your thoughts spin. Back in your world, your identity was locked in your name on a license, your photo on an ID, your fingerprints in a database. Everything could be tracked, confirmed, searched. But here, it's the opposite. Here, identity is made up of words spoken. Stories told with confidence and care. You can be anyone, as long as you act the part. Walk the walk, speak simply. Keep your story straight. There's no Google here, no records. No phone numbers to call and confirm your past. You could say, your uncle once met a monk in a village called Morset Michel, a place you just made up, and they'd nod like it meant something. They'd believe you. Because in this world, people have to believe strangers. Life is too hard to constantly doubt. Travel is too risky to survive alone. Trust is how people get by. But that trust comes with fear that the wrong story, the wrong word, or the wrong look could turn trust into suspicion. And suspicion, in this world, is dangerous. So you lie there, eyes open in the dark, the cold air pressing against your back. You are no longer who you were. You are who you say you are. And tomorrow you'll have to say it again. The next morning comes too early. Not because you're ready, but because you don't have a choice. There's no alarm clock, no cozy blanket to hide under. The cold wakes you before the sun does. The monastery where you spent the night with other pilgrims is freezing. Stone walls offer no warmth, and the floor is like ice beneath your body. You can see your breath in the air, little clouds each time you exhale. There are no doors, no private rooms, just open space, cold air, and people shifting and groaning as they sit up slowly in the dim light. Before the sky even begins to change color, a bell rings, loud and echoing, calling everyone to morning prayers. It's not optional. You follow the others out into the chapel or prayer hall, your legs stiff and your cloak thin against the chill. Everyone stands in rows, quiet and tired. The monks begin to chant, their voices low and steady in Latin, a language you barely recognize, let alone understand. You don't know the words, not even close, but you move your lips, mumbling soft nonsense sounds, just like a few others around you. No one seems to notice, or if they do, they don't care. Half of the pilgrims are doing the same, pretending, just trying to blend in. After prayers, there's no big breakfast, no warm porridge or tea. A monk hands you a piece of dry bread, smaller than your hand. It's hard and rough, but it's food, and you take it gratefully. Then, just like that, you're told to move on. Pilgrims aren't meant to stay long. The monastery is a place to rest, not a place to settle. You're expected to keep walking. Outside, the town is beginning to wake up. The sky is pale with early light, and the streets are busier than yesterday. Vendors are lifting wooden shutters, setting up small stalls along the road. Some lay out piles of limp vegetables, cabbages, onions, maybe some wrinkled apples. Others arrange old tools, chipped pots, and scraps of cloth. One man sharpens knives. You pass a butcher's stall and force yourself not to stare. A headless pig carcass hangs from a hook, its pale, pinkish body swaying slightly in the breeze. Flies are already gathering around it, buzzing lazily. The smell of raw meat and blood is thick in the air. You turn your head away. You remind yourself. Meat doesn't last long here. There are no refrigerators. No ice. Salt is the only way to keep meat from spoiling, and salt is expensive. Most people can't afford to eat meat regularly. When they do, it's often tough, dried, or already half bad. What's on sale this morning might already be turning, and people will still buy it because they have no other choice. Most towns like this have one market day each week. It's the biggest event in a small place. Villagers from miles away come in to sell whatever they have: eggs, cheese, turnips, onions, wool, even handmade shoes or simple tools. Everyone trades, haggles, and argues. There are no price tags, no fixed costs. Everything is up for debate. If you want to eat or buy anything, you'll have to negotiate. That's the only way to survive. And you realize something else. You don't even know the money here. The coins are small and unfamiliar. Silver pennies, half pennies, farthings, each with different symbols and values. If you try to use the wrong one or act unsure, someone will cheat you in an instant. People can spot a stranger from a mile away, and in this time, being cheated could mean going hungry. Or worse, so you keep walking, hands tucked into your sleeves, head slightly lowered, ears open. You listen to how people talk, how they trade, how they behave. Every detail matters. This world is loud, dirty, and rough, but it's alive. And you're in it now, alone, hungry, but still here. You want to buy something but realize you have nothing to trade. Not even a coin. You still have your wristwatch hidden. You glance at it, meaningless here. No one cares what time it is. Time is measured by bells, prayers, and the sun. Light out, work, dark, pray, hide, or sleep. You decide to ask for help. You see a woman selling oat cakes and approach slowly, looking humble but not pitiful. You explain softly you're a pilgrim, low on supplies, blessed to meet her generosity. It's not great acting, but she gives you one cake. Maybe she believes you. Maybe she likes feeding people. Maybe she wants a pilgrim's blessing. Many believed helping one earned God's favor. You mumble Deus te benedicat, God bless you, in fake Latin. She nods, pleased. You chew slowly as you wander. The oat cake is dense, unsweetened, and tastes bitter. Wormwood? Bad grain? But it's food. You count your blessings. 1 oat cake, 2 working legs, no fever. Yet, you pass children playing in the dirt with a wooden hoop and a rag doll. They stop and stare at you curiously. One points to your wrist. You cover it fast. That's when it hits you. You're not out of the woods. You have your story, your cloak, your pilgrim status. But you don't have years of dirt under your nails. You don't carry yourself like someone beaten down by lifelong hardship. You walk too straight. You flinch at smells. You make too much eye contact. It's subtle, but it's there. To them, you still don't quite belong, so you adapt. You drop your gaze. You shuffle more. You mimic the limp you saw last night. You avoid direct questions. You learn to listen. Before speaking, this world doesn't care how smart you are. It cares if you follow the rhythm, blend in, or vanish. That night, you find another place to sleep. A barn offered by a farmer in exchange for chopping wood. You say yes instantly. Your hands blister in minutes. He doesn't notice or care. Labor is labor. Pain is normal. Lying in the hay curled up against the cold, you rehearse your story again. Pilgrim from the north, road to Canterbury, traveling for penance, always alone. As the stars turn overhead, you realize this truth. Lying is easy in the Middle Ages. Living is not.